Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm going to get right into it. It is early in the morning. It's not even 9 a.m., which is early as fuck for me. My sleep schedule, if you've been following along with any of the treasure hunt videos, has been pretty boned for a little while, and that's entirely my fault. It always is, right? But I had the opportunity to take up a bit of responsibility this morning. Somebody in the house asked if somebody would be up at a certain time for a certain purpose, in order to basically make sure that a kid was safe. And I don't know why. Well, I can think back and backward justify why, but I jumped at the opportunity. It was like, yes, I'll be up. And in... What, you want in? Alright, here you go. I'll allow it. I shouldn't have done that. I have very carefully been trying to train the cat not to scratch at my door, and I just let her in, so I just rewarded her for scratching at the door. Lack of thinking. Hey, you be good. No jumping on my desk. I jumped at the opportunity immediately. Was like, yes, I'll be up. And in part, that was because I wanted to have something to force me to wake up. Some sort of external requirement that would assist me in resetting my internal clock, which I find hard to do. Hard to motivate naturally. Have to force it a little bit. Anyway, now I'm up and been up for 2 hours and have had most of my tea, have done my delayed caffeination and gotten everything going, and so I'm gonna be up, and I might as well do something with my time. It's one of the things about being awake is like, you got more time and you might as well do might as well do something with it. Just a little cat head appears and then it's gone. That was very cute. That was a very cute Cinnamon. If you keep doing that, and we're gonna be making money. Of course, that's what. Hey, no, out, out, out. Out. Good girl. Hey, Cinnamon. Good girl. Very good. Yes. Very good. Yes. Every damn time. She can't help it. She's learning this pattern of like, I go up and I jump on the desk behind the computers and then something interesting happens and I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm gonna push that button until I figure it the fuck out. And whether the interesting thing is me hissing at her or telling her to get down or whatever, it's still interaction. So it's like a kid who wants attention or interaction regardless of the quality or variety of that interaction. That's a problem. Anyway, I'm up. It's early in the morning and I'm here for Bocchi. And that's what I'm going to watch today. I actually probably should have watched Bocchi yesterday, and we'll get to why when we go through this stack of papers. But I'm going to start off. I've started off every Bocchi episode for a little bit talking about art in some way. And mostly because of relevance, that's been me pulling out the guitar and playing a bit of guitar. I haven't been practicing as much guitar as I should be. So saying that on its own is a good reminder. I know that I should. But I want to talk about some visual art because it's been a weird experience. I've drawn a thing every day, and I've sort of just let my pencil hit the paper. I've been using a particularly likable, enjoyable pencil. This is a Koeko SketchUp 5.6 millimeter drafting pencil. It's got a monstrously large lead. It's like huge, and it's very, very weighty and has a very nice feel to it, and I like it a lot. There's another company that makes a similar pencil that's a little bit more affordable. The Koh-i-Noor Hartmouth. I spent some time trying to decide between them, and I went for the hefty, hefty. No wimpy. But still a huge, thick-ass motherfucker of a pencil. Anyway, that's kind of neither here nor there. For the last 8 days now, I think I'm on 8, it might be 9, You can see the one that's in the background right there. That's, I don't know what it is. Immediately that's an interesting phenomenon, right? I don't know what I drew. The reason that I drew it was because I set out the task to draw something, and my brain filled the empty space with a pattern thing. In terms of ideation, once I started drawing it, I was like, well, it's kind of like a sun, and there are kind of like rays coming from it, and so that's sort of the... I'll build off of that concept, but I don't know where the fuck it came from. Where did that idea come from? Where did it... I started with the circle at the top corner, but at the moment that I put that half a circle, that quarter circle down, I had no idea what that was going to iterate toward, what it was going to generate, what it was going to become. That's weird. That's weird. Okay, so that's the most recent of nine total. So 8 here, and then that one. And I've been putting them up there and leaving them there. I don't know. People might hate it. I would understand why. There are a couple in here that I hated having up there, which is really interesting. How can you manufacture, draw, create something that you actually don't like? That you don't like? Well, if we suppose that our creations are reflections of our internal state, there can be lots of things inside of you that you don't like. So that's interesting. It's weird. I don't have an effective way of grappling with that as a concept right now. It gets into like art theory stuff that I don't have enough of a background in, and I guess I need more background in. I don't know. Anyway, I started days ago. That's it's like an archetypal depiction of the parting of a sea. You've got a staff-wielding character in a robe pushing forward on a strip of dry land with an ocean parting in front of them. That's where my head was at when I drew it. And then something interesting happened. It became like an ora of almost fists coming out of the water. Bam. I titled this one the day that I drew it, and I titled it Determined Nation. Don't know where that came from. Came from the reflection of the thing that came out of my brain. What the fuck is that about? I don't know. That started as like essentially a psychological architectural study. Was drawing the building was first, and then framing it in pieces was second, and immediately revealed to me that while I can do hard, solid objects relatively okay, and be like, okay, the dimensions on these are going to work, my internal mental... How do I put this? Internal imagistic representations of more complicated natural objects like trees are limited at best, and often don't have leaves on them because I don't know how to depict those. Interesting to figure out how limited I am by attempting to do the thing, and it didn't work in a lot of ways. I titled this one this morning, and I called it Placetime. This was an obvious one and was direct. I was going into Zeta Gundam, and I was watching a thing. There was a sad moment where a character died. That's not really spoilers. Its title, also titled this morning, is No! And you've got a pretty classic situation there. Okay. I was hungover this morning. Yeah. Ow, my skull. Correct. And correct. And also, I keep looking at it, and I like that, and then the that, it works. I don't like this very much. The hand is a study of my own hand, and it wasn't very good. The skull was interesting, like the way that depicts itself in the brain. Weird, but interesting. Meow. Train tracks, and then it's a sword. Where did that come from? I was gonna watch Mugen Train. I called it I Like Trains. It's after the character in Astif movie that goes, I like trains. No. Because I hear that when I look at this and I hear that. Weird. Totally normal. Completely weird. This is Stepped Foots. Another train study, because it's the second day that I had planned to do Mugen Train. This is the day that I actually ended up doing Mugen Train. Why are there people only on one side of the thing? I don't know. There's probably something to that. Why are there disconnected feet? Like a JoJo stand, like a particular, like, highway star. They're disconnected, like, fully... I don't know why I drew that. Those are my feet. Those are my footsteps moving forward toward the unknown and disconnected from the body that would be connected to them. What is that? I don't know. So a portion of this is like Rorschach blotting myself, except that it's my brain that created the Rorschach blots. The dream representation that became or came out of, because sometimes there's a dream representation that then becomes the art, and sometimes the art starts the thing and we dream represent it later. Weird. This was the day after watching Mugen Train. I have some theories about why this is the way that it is, but this is the one that I don't like. Because while I had this one up behind me, it kept striking. Like, I kept walking past it and being, like, turned off or pushed away or something by it. His eyes wide open. It's demonic. It's broken. It's creepy. It's Akaza. It's also me. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Yesterday I drew this. If I put it this way, you can tell that it's a lute or a guitar. If I put it this way, it's a wine glass. There was a fraction of ideation before this came into being. I knew that I was going toward music and alcohol, and it was because I thought Bocchi yesterday. I was thinking about last week's episode of Bocchi where we met Drunk-san. And something about a wine glass becoming a guitar, becoming a wine glass, felt right. Dionysian goblet. And then behind me is... It's something like a sun. A pattern. Now, to be fair, I was listening to Stephen Hawking's The Theory of Everything while I drew this morning. So maybe there's some significant element of this that is a representation of having a very smart man lay out in rather simple terms the fundamental nature of existence. So maybe something like that. This has been a weird experiment. And the strangest thing about it is that it's felt like there's been utility to it. Like it's done something that's changed the way that my brain works, to take what's in my brain and put it on paper, or to move a pencil across paper and therefore see what's in the brain. And it raises some questions. Why do we art? Insofar as you are capable of arting, should you? What does that do to the you? 'Cause I didn't know any of those things about myself. And I don't know what they mean about myself. But I can't help but imagine that that paper, in some ways, is a clearer mirror than any mirror. And so I'm going to keep doing it. And I might keep doing it forever. It'll be really interesting to see if 30 days, 60 days, 120 days from now, one, can I keep up the habit? Draw a thing every day. Doesn't have to be just get one piece of paper and you draw a thing every day. Okay, that's the habit. Can I keep it up? How will my art change? How will what I'm representing change? How will my mind and mental state change? And how will that cycle into reflection with the art itself? And then, will I get any better? Like, as I discover insufficiencies in my ability to transfer ideas from brain to paper, or vice versa, will I get better at it? I don't know. But I think it's really interesting, and so I wanted to put it somewhere, and this felt like the place to put it, and to talk about it. Only a few days large scale into the experiment. I'd like to keep it going. And part of me saying that to the camera is me saying that to myself. Because I'd like to keep this going. I'd like to figure out where it leads, if anywhere. Because I find the works themselves interesting. And I find the process of creating them fascinating. And fulfilling? Weird. Why does that fulfill me? Producing 1 page of scribbled pencil drawing. Why does playing music fulfill me? Producing something that's not even, you don't even have a physical representation of in most cases. Most of the music that I've ever made has not been recorded and will continue to be such. It's ephemeral, it's temporary, it's gone as soon as it's done. If the vibrations aren't there in that moment, then they're gone. They don't exist anymore. And the music itself is like built into time, so it doesn't exist really. Music at one particular moment never exists. You just have a wall of a certain type of sounds, and it's the change of those from one thing to another thing to another thing that is the music. Why does that fulfill people? Well, maybe it represents something. Maybe it represents something about the fabric of being. Again, I've been reading Hawking, listening to Hawking, whatever. So I'm thinking about fabric of being stuff, like what is existence? Waves and particles, everything's moving, everything is static. Entropy rules all, things move in a direction. The arrow of time points together. Things point together, things move together. You represent that in music a little bit. Here's a thing, it sounds like this, and then it sounds like that, and that's movement, it's change. And then the drawings, they're static. But they're not really static inside my mind. They're static in yours, because you see the static of them. But in mine, the process of the drawing is relived when I see the thing. My hand literally moved the pencil across every one of those scratch marks and bits of graphite left on the paper. There's time inherent in the singular. It's a single moment captured, but there's time inherent in the drawing of it. All right. Is that enough psychotic ramblings for the day? Probably. It's probably like 3 servings of psychotic ramblings for the day. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know anything. I do know that Bocchi the Rock is a part of the cause of that. See, that's weird. Bocchi has inspired me to do a bunch of things. Not least of which was to get a guitar and start playing it. Still need to do more of that. More frequently. But in a non-trivial way, the drawing thing and the Bocchi thing are related. Watching somebody push forward and struggle against their insufficiencies in order to achieve some goal that they determined as worthwhile, despite having no reason to think that it would be worthwhile, right? It's just like the character is sort of struck by the desire that this would be a good thing, And then we get the Nijika episode where she's like, I got a big dream too. And Bocchi goes, okay, good with me. And that seems correct because there's something about doing something for others that has a real effect on the individual. It's what happened this morning. It took someone else needing something at a certain time for me to change my sleep schedule and actively sacrifice a bunch of potential mediocre sleep that I would have gotten throughout the late morning in order to be awake. And yet that sacrifice of potential has opened up the whole morning to me for creation and work, and I listened to 2 hours of the theory of everything, and I drew a thing, and I'm making a video, and I made my tea, and I did all these things that I'm supposed to do. I'm going to have more time today, and maybe I'll while most of that time away doing nothing later. Maybe I'll be tired later, but for now I'm engaged and I'm awake and I'll make use of it. And all of that came from doing something for somebody else. That's weird. We're weird creatures. It's cool too. Let's funnel down toward direction. Some kind of direction. Last episode we got a real-world drunken master. Drunk-chan, no name. Bunch of comments saying that she's best girl. I can agree with that. Through their interaction, Bocchi is sort of forced up onto stage and finds that she's capable of playing guitar in front of people with her eyes open without the whole world imploding upon her. Shocking. She seemed to think that that was what was going to happen, and it didn't. So that's one piece of evidence, think, onto the little scale that tips endlessly in the favor of fear and terror, and there's no evidence for any of Bocchi's fears. They're all sort of unsubstantiated, but that's not how we work, is it? We don't really care if there's evidence for our fears. Paranoia and phobia, fear in general, are things that don't care about the reality of a situation very much until you disprove them over and over and over and over. And we've had one over, one disprove. That's not true. We've had a couple. Bocchi playing with the band, Bocchi playing with others, Kita being interested. There's this mounting evidence that Bocchi's going to have a hard time ignoring, that maybe, just maybe, she's good at something and deserving of respect for it. Maybe. Probably not, though. Probably this is just a dumb fucking phase that she's going through, and this whole guitar thing isn't really gonna matter, and the mind spirals, right? But it's pretty evident to everybody around her that Bocchi's got something, and our drunken master felt exactly the same way. What kind of whoa, girl, when you let loose and actually let go and let this thing happen, the music flows through you. When you get thinking at all, it doesn't flow. It's like it puts barriers in the way. Trying to accomplish something specific, trying to hit some bar or live up to some expectation or whatever it is, seems to get in the way more than foster creativity. That brings us back to the art thing. It's I'll bet if I had tried to draw a picture that would be relevant to everyday's video, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch this show today. I'm going to draw a picture that's relevant to it. I would have had a hell of a time. But sometimes that happened on its own, and sometimes it didn't. That's a hell of a thing. Art is weird. People are weird. Bocchi's good at poking at that. I mean the show, not the character. The show is good at poking at that situation and being like, hey, what the fuck is this art thing, and why are we doing it? What's it for? What is it? What could it be for? Maybe for others. Maybe for you. Maybe for all of us. Maybe the fact that one art can inspire other art is all that it needs to be. Because the art of the manga has inspired the art of the animators, has inspired the art of the directors, has inspired the art of the voice actresses, has inspired the art of all the music that's been created for Bocchi that didn't exist because it was just a conceptual band that was only extant in manga, which is not a medium that can contain music. It's just the idea that there would be music. Somebody put pencil and pen to paper and said, here's an idea, band exists. And now that band exists, Keshoku Bando, insofar as it's a collaboration of other artists who are now, like, under that name, it kind of exists now. There are songs by Keshoku Bando that were not before. What? Okay, that's a real moment of intrigue there. A couple years ago, an artist-author wrote a thing about a band that might exist in a fantasy world with a certain group of characters. Nijika, Bocchi, Kita, Ryo. Okay, great. Ding, ding, ding. And those characters would write music that would be like this, and maybe have ideas like this, and it just exists now. Thanks to the inspired effort of dozens, if not many dozens, if not hundreds of people. One art made more art. It's spreading. Nobody is safe. The art is spreading. That's weird. That's weird. Other animals don't do that. Other creatures don't do that. Lots of people don't do that. How different could their lives be if they did that? Maybe if they were exposed to more art, they would do that. It seems to do it on its own. Maybe you could be the one who would make the art that would be exposed to more people that would cause them to make more art. That would be interesting. Maybe that's a good reason to do anything. Maybe speaking honestly into the world, whether that's literal speech or the speech of art or the speech of storytelling or however, the speech of commenting on YouTube. Maybe speaking honestly into the world has the weird property, the weird capacity to manifest more honest speech from other people. Music seems to be a really honest way of speaking. You can't lie in music. You can be tricky. You can mess with expectations. But you can't lie. If you speak untruth, notes that don't go together in harmony or whatever, it's wrong. And everybody who can hear fully and whose brain is aligned and organized the same way, people who aren't tone deaf, hears it and goes, that was wrong. That's weird. Freaking weird. Okay, we're in super metaphysical space. I've tried to hone us back down to a direction repeatedly, and I can't. I guess this is what happens when I wake up early. Maybe that's what I've been missing. Maybe I used to wake up pretty early to do my reactions, my videos. A lot of my videos used to be made in this sort of almost dream space of woke up not that long ago and I'm drinking tea. Creates a different mental state. Maybe I should foster that. Worth experimenting, at least. Let's watch some Bocchi. I've got episode 7 ready to go. I don't know what we're going to do after today. We sold our tickets. We overcame some demons, internal ones. What's next for our little rock? More music, maybe. More friends, maybe. More art, maybe. More love, maybe. Maybe all of those things would be fucking good. Maybe I have no idea what's coming, but I've got... High expectations isn't the word. Confidence. I'm confident that I will enjoy the next 23 minutes. I'm uncertain entirely what they will contain, but I'm confident that I'll enjoy them. That's cool. Six pieces of evidence on the pile of you're probably going to enjoy this show, and that creates a pretty good, pretty solid set of like correlations. It's like, yeah, you're probably going to enjoy this. Okay, let's watch episode 7. There'll be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, beep timer. Support me on Patreon if you'd like to. If you enjoy weird ramblings about art, we'll see if more of them keep coming. I'm not trying to do this, really. That's just what I ended up talking about today, because it feels right. Weird. Beep timer. Your house! Your house! That's right! Such a new experience indeed. Oh, God. Well, it's perfect right now. I like these. Oh. Lying. The dog does not exist. Yeah. Rio is a compulsive liar. Important. Sasuga senpai? She's such a good liar. Wow. Dude, I know that feeling so well. It's why I have a really hard time with scheduled appointments or things with. Just carrying the dead cicada out. Oh, oh, it's so real. Ah. I wonder why that is. It's not just scheduling a thing. It's like, it's appointments or interactions with other people. If those are scheduled, they wrap my entire day. Or like hours on either side of the thing. Maybe just scheduling things is centralizing. But a part of it is like a social phenomenon. It's like a need to not fuck it up. I wonder what that's about. Yeah. Sasuga senpai! Amazing. And well done with we travel up the characters, so it's like their feet and then their torsos, right? And then when we get to faces, we do the slow-mo change. Hey. Hi. And no Rio for this, which is interesting. Okay, Miyagi. Omiyage. Aha, aha, aha. Oh. Trust. We should all be in boxes. We should all be in boxes. It's on the outside. Oh my god. Oh. She put a disco. Party people. Yeah. Oh, oh. Oh, horrifying. Yup. That's correct. Is this The Rock? They're from the walls. Fucking Rock, man. You were supposed to say nothing, child. Mm. I'm fully normal. The greatest guitarist. Fucking champagne flutes for barley tea. Oh, yep. It has been won. Oh my god. Of course she thinks that way. Hmm. But I like it here, and they like it. Yep. I don't know what that word actually means. Hot chocolate? Dangle, dangle. Oh, well, what am I gonna do? Nijika watching. Yep. Eyes open. Make a cool thing. Yes, you are very hungry for merch, like selling zip ties. It's on. They fully just ignored it because they didn't think it was real. Oh no. Ah. Ah. And we cut to horror. A very tacky unit. Oh. Ha. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Daiichi. Whoa, this is cool. It's a claymay. Forced inclusion. Yeah. Ice pops for everyone. Oh my god, another fun style. Yeah. Yes. This is Kill la Kill. This is Dark and Mad Max. Have to be a part of it. That was actually presented at the center of the episode. That's great. Okay. Fully Mad Max. And a cool style, too. Amazing. Oh. They just said that to them. She's a part of the band. Yeah, I really want to find out more about the dad. If you touch the acoustic foam, I'm pausing and coming. You'd immediately touch the... Get. Good cat. I missed that. Sorry. I will go back and look at that moment. Crispy chickens. Yum. Such doubt. Such doubt. Yeah, my own parents. Brutal. Finding out what people actually think about you. Practicing deck. Of course she'd have to lie about it. Of course. Imeji training.
Yes, let us celebrate the grand day of having friends. Honestly, we should have friend-anniversaries more frequently. Hey, bud, we haven't talked in a while. Let's have a friend-anniversary. Yeah. It does feel pretty weird. Music really does cause personal growth. So, yeah. Alright, where are you hiding away to, Bocchi? Oh, now they're all having fun without you. There's no place for you. And we're back to, if anybody wants to come and play, just say you want to play. And she turns away from the warmth every time. But not out of disdain or contempt, right? Incoming typhoon. Okay. Oh, we did play the Twister. Still got to do the thing. Yeah, what did she draw the first time? Too much station. This is the worst #1 source of trauma. Yeah, right, Hollywood ugly. Of course she did. Sasuga senpai! She's just hungry. She's just hungry. Oh my, Sasuga senpai! Ah, you have returned from the other world. I would like to see your design. No, CG. And again. And really cool both times. Ta-da! It's very Roku. Very Roku. It's very Roku. Well, they make it clear that you're cool. That's on ones, isn't it? That little loop, yeah. You just wear the tracksuit every day. She's got a full closet of clothes, huh? Oh God. Y'all pushing. Y'all pressing. Kawaii? Horrifying? Oh. It's like a human. Mmm. A full makeover. Please no. The #1 source of hair-related trauma. Oh, I think maybe we've gone too far. This is all in Bocchi's head, right? Our daughter is dust, and everybody else is dead. What the fuck? La, 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 la. It's spreading. Do it yourself. What? What? What actually happened? No idea. Alright, fair enough. Sasuga senpai! Mm-hmm. Well, it was a good excuse to go over to her house. Your next line will be, the Dorito flops around! The psychic Dorito. Ha 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 ha. Hoo hoo hoo. Ah, this'll do. 2 days. Oh, right. Yep. The rainy season on the weather. The concert's indoors. Huh? Metaphor. Fears that don't come together. Okay. You really just want to make Tera poses, don't you? See, but Nijika knows. Yeah, that was the first you've ever stepped out of yourself, ever. Oh, the voice actress is great. Dayone. Oh, weird. Fuck. Day of the concert's next. Awesome. I will. I will watch it, Bocchi. I absolutely will. Okay. First, a meta thing. Over the past week or so, I've watched a bunch of shows because I've been treasure hunting again. And if you don't know that I've been treasure hunting again, you're missing out because there's some fun stuff coming down the pipeline. I've been watching episode 1 of every new seasonal that aired last season. That's a lot of shows. Gives me a better understanding of the average, the mean in terms of quality and artistic direction and style choices and capacity to demonstrate and convey things. The whole quality thing, that weird ethereal concept that we assign to different works of art. Doing that has made me clearly and poignantly aware that Bocchi is way, way beyond the average quality of the seasonal anime. It's pretty special. Is it mind-blowing? The greatest piece of art ever made? No. But it's pretty special and there's a lot of care put into it. A lot of love. You see shows that are straightforward adaptations that don't go out of their way at all to manifest anything interesting about the characters or try to have fun with it. Too limited, maybe. You see shows that are kind of all over the place and are trying a lot of things but don't really have a vision or a direction. Literally a direction from a director. The person who sets a direction is like, that's the way we're going. And a kind of a chaotic mess. And somewhere in the magic zone between those two extremes, you get good stuff. There's a wide variety of good stuff. This fits into the category of good stuff. So just from a step back perspective, man, this show flows really well. Each and every scene is interesting and there's something worthwhile going on. Either worthwhile in terms of producing value in terms of humor, worthwhile in terms of delivering character revelations or intrigue or depth of representation or conveyance of mental state or something. Every bit of it seems to count. And every bit of it seems to matter. And that takes work. And not just work, because you can put a lot of work into the wrong direction. It takes work and direction. You put the two together and you get something interesting out. This is something interesting. It's cool. So I wanted to say that. Then I want to go back to 12 minutes or so, because I missed a line when I got up to stop the cat from chewing on my foam. It's right before the karaage is done. It felt like it was an important line. The fact that I'm still upset about school festivals makes me realize I'm a downer even more, which made everything worse. Great. So, spiral. Cycling downward. The fact that I feel bad makes me feel bad about feeling bad. The fact that I'm anxious makes me feel anxious about being anxious. It's like, okay, one layer is you got social anxiety about stepping outside of yourself to go talk to someone. And then the next layer is I've got social anxiety about stepping forward to go and talk to someone. Does that mean that I'm broken? Does that mean that I'm a failed human being? Does that mean that I'll never be okay ever, and everybody should hate me and I'll just curl up into a ball and turn to ash? Yeah, that's an unreasonable but factual phenomenon. Humans really do that. I've really done that in various directions. I said at one point that sometimes thinking about the thing gets in the way of doing the thing. The creative endeavor sort of happens on its own. And if you start thinking about or realizing that you're doing it, you can cut yourself off at the knees and be like, well, there's no point to this, and I'm stupid, and this is stupid, and the whole thing is going to fail anyway, and everybody hates me, and blah, blah, blah. The thought process goes off. thinking can be its own obstacle because it can generate more of itself. That's interesting. And it's correct. It as Bocchi has done in every episode so far, in multiple ways in many episodes, it takes an aspect of anxious, introverted, but natural human experience and points at it and goes, that exists. This is what it looks like. This is how it feels. And you as a viewer either go, oh, yep, that's definitely something that's part of my experience of life. Or you go, well, I don't experience that, but now I can empathize with it because it's been represented to me in an effective way. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Design. I like this whole opening sequence with the two characters. It does a wonder for establishing a solid payoff of an expectation reversal joke, which is kind of the format of the joke that we get. Okay, so anticipation. Bocchi is waiting, and we'll talk about that in a second. Ankles, Yamada style, kind of. It's not the same. If you look at this ankles scene and you're like, that's the same as the Yamada ankles scene from Liz and the Bluebird, it's not. It's not. But it's still interesting and useful because this scene is the first in a rhyming sequence, as opposed to Yamada's scene, which stands alone. Okay, I have to back up. Naoki Yamada, director of K-On! And other KyoAni works, and Liz and the Bluebird, the film, has a tendency or an occasional aspect to her directing where she'll cut to the lower legs of characters in order to do emotional representations, right? A part of it is that when we're in certain emotional states, we look down at each other's feet or at our own feet. And so there's something that links in there. And then there's something about, it's like the furthest extremity from you. It's the least conscious part of you in some sense. And so the way that you move it moves in unconscious ways that reveal something about the internal state of the character. That's my theory, at least. Yamada's scenes on that front stand alone. They're emotional representations of like where our individual characters at and how they're interacting based on how they move their legs. They stand on their own. This sequence doesn't stand on its own. It's part of a rhyming triad. The triad is first this scene, then the scene where we get their torsos as the two characters are turning and looking at each other and interacting and speaking back and forth. And then the third one is their slow-mo on their faces when they see the actual poster banner thing. That ends up fitting a number of concepts. I mean, it fits a rule of threes concept, not a rule of thirds concept, separate concept. Two things makes a pattern. Third thing is the expectation. If you do the third thing on point, everybody in the audience goes, okay, we know where this is going. If you do the third thing and you change it, everybody goes, whoa, that's not what I expected. And that's where you can get a lot of humor or shock value or horror or any sort of effect. You can accentuate it by doing 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 12. And there's like, it's not what you expect. It's a pattern, the way our pattern recognition works. It's like point, line, next step in line. Oh, wait, we're over here. What the fuck was that? And we find that novel and endlessly. You do it over and over and we still find it novel. It's weird, but it's the way we're broken. We're dumb. we're dumb monkeys. And so we go like, this tree had a fruit and this tree had a fruit and this tree ate me. Weird. That's worth remembering because it's different. Okay. So this is the first in the rhyming triad. I like the way that we do the edge lighting on the character legs as they come through this space and then into the other space. And we get some interplay between the characters as they stop each other or stop and the other moves on, stop and turn, things like that. It ends up being a really simple way to represent characters as they're moving. And you don't even have to animate lip flaps. You just have to animate a really like endlessly difficult walk cycle that's way more complicated than lip flaps. It's cool. I like it flows well with the conversation that the voice actresses are carrying as we go in the scene. It's so mechanically simple as a scene, and yet it does a lot. I can't wait, neither can I, and Bocchi literally can't wait. Is literally sitting there waiting. So I mentioned when this happened that this is something that I deal with. I'll bet that a bunch of people do too. I think something about it has to do with maybe, first off, the novelty of the behavior. Is it frequent in your life that you have scheduled interactions with other humans? If not, then that's a new thing, and you're going to treat it like it's different, separate, and important. That's part of what's going on with Bocchi. But there's something else that I don't know the psychology behind around, like a scheduled meeting or a timed expectation, or it centralizes everything else around it. It's like if there's a scheduled timing for me to go to the gym with somebody else, I'm going to be there 15 minutes early, and for about an hour and a half before that, I'm going to be thinking about almost nothing but the fact that I must be ready at that period of time. Now, I'll go and I'll do other things, and I won't, like, my life doesn't go on hold. I don't stand there at the door waiting. But in some sense, some part of me is standing at the door waiting, is like, this thing is important, and a portion of my brain power is processing the timer that's going. It's like, I have this much time before I must be ready for this thing. And some people don't have that at all. You see it in people who are endlessly unpunctual. Is that just a lack of care for other people, or is it something structurally different in the way that they represent time-based events or promises and stuff? I don't know. Again, I don't know the psychology behind it. But the phenomenon feels real. It also works really well to establish that Bocchi's doing something weird. And so when we get the reveal of what she's actually doing, the glasses and the mustache and the pachow and the band and all the things, it's really weird. And so we build that up and set it up and pay it off. And that's pretty cool. But something about, and I'd like to know from people commenting what experiences they have with it. Having something scheduled in your day changes the rest of your day, right? Having something that requires you to interact with other people scheduled in your day, doubly so, right? Like a delivery driver. If I have a delivery driver coming, that takes up an hour. It'll be a 2-minute interaction with the delivery driver, but it'll take up an hour beforehand and a few minutes afterward. Am I crazy? I think I'm crazy, probably, in multifarious ways, but that seems real to me. Something about anticipation has a gravitational pull. Okay. Second scene in our triad. Blah, 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 brought some sweets, blah, 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 blah. I can't wait, neither can I, blah, 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 blah. Gives us a chance to show off their outfits. This time it's more like the Yamada scenes because there's more of the interaction between the characters. There's more back and forth. But again, it's part of this greater flow of the 3-part rhyme. Hey, you didn't forget why we're doing this, right? No, I remember we're designing t-shirts for a concert. So it's the first that we've heard of it. So the line really serves as exposition for us. But is that why Nijika's doing it? I have a question about our slightly manipulative blonde here. Is that why Nijika's doing this? Is it to design the t-shirts? She ends up designing the t-shirts anyway with her own logo. We get that scene at the end where Bocchi questions it and she goes, "That's what you were thinking, wasn't it, Bocchi?" I think Nijika's perfectly capable of designing the t-shirt herself. Couple of things. One, getting everybody to do the designs that they would do and then agreeing collectively on a different way to go or on a particular way to go makes everybody feel like they're included. Two, and this is the more narratively important one, Nijika is actively and consciously trying to bring Bocchi into friendships and thus is coming up with excuses to do so. Too much responsibility to put on one little blonde character with a Dorito on her head? Maybe. But I'm suspicious. I feel like this girl has too much good nature to her, and is maybe genuinely dedicated to attempting to improve the lives of the people around her. Or maybe she just wants everybody to design t-shirts. I don't fucking know. Outfits are cute. Ryo's grandma has a problem, and this is excellent. 10th critical time for her grandma. At least she really exists. She has lied before about her dog, about her twin sister, about her father having amnesia. All the silliest excuses. And my favorite line of the episode is right here. Sasuga senpai! Wow! She's so great! Wow, coming up with so many lines! Incredible! Very goofy, very good. We're here, this is it. Turn. Bam. Slow-mo. Ha. Stop-boo. This is the one. And then we doubled down on that with the open door. Surprise, surprise. Kapow! Huh? Dead creature being carried away by ants. Perfect. Total bomb. What's a ryokan? Traditional inn. Oh, I just went down a weird rabbit hole about ryokai food and like timing of tea ceremony foods, and then baniku, which is horse meat. Wikipedia. I think it's really simple, isn't it? She doesn't know how to engage in this social experience, has never had friends over as far as anybody, her parents would indicate, everything else would indicate. Doesn't know how to act. It's new territory. And so you treat it with great fear and care in a way that becomes humorous. It's too much. And that's just right. She's really been looking forward to it. The little slam and then the pachow. Very cute. She knows how to do this. Kita does. She's been over to a dozen houses, right? You bring a little souvenir, you make the proper sacrifices, you arrange yourself properly with the situation. It's like you go over to somebody's house for dinner, you bring a bottle of wine, or you bring something, you make the proper sacrifice because you're entering into somebody's space, and you follow these traditional precepts that are just sort of woven into our understanding of how to act, unless they're not, and then it's a terrifying landscape of the new, and then you have no idea what to do. And so, you have to learn those things. So that's a non-trivial part of social anxiety, is that maybe you're terrified of talking to someone because you don't know how to interact with them. Like, the idea of shaking their hand is terrifying because you don't know how to do it. And you think you'll fuck it up. And you probably will. And they probably will think worse of you if you fuck up a handshake, for example, in a Western culture. Like, I think poorly of people who shake my hand poorly. And I think better of people who shake it well. It's an important thing to know, and so perhaps part of the therapeutic response to something like this is to teach people the very fundamental basics of, like, how do you look somebody in the eye? You nod at them as you walk by them, right? Like, you stay in your lane, but you're capable of making some contact, right? You reach out with your hand placed this way and not this way and not this way, and you shake their hand firmly, but not gripping it hard, but not limp and loose either. And you layer in all these things that everybody sort of expects to be built into you. I could get. That everybody sort of expects are already wired into you, and they might not be. Huh. It's a serious element. It shines. It shines with trendiness. I love the guitar strapped to the outside of the box. I absolutely love it. I think the joke that they should all be in boxes is the best possible solution, is put them all in boxes and have them just be the box band. Just excellent. Everybody has done this to some extent. Somebody's going to see your room, you change everything about your room in a way that precludes all the things that you would normally do in your room in the way that you would normally have it arranged in order to present some picture of yourself that you think would be more appealing to them, right? It's like putting makeup on your room, on your space, right? Well, what does that say? It says that you don't... Well, your space is a reflection of you. That's part of why cleaning up your space cleans up your mind. Literally. Your space is a reflection of you. Somebody else seeing your space is them seeing a reflection of you. Maybe you don't want them to see that. Maybe you should clean up your room. But for Bocchi, it's not an aspect of cleanliness or like righteous judgment or proper estimation of worth or importance. She's terrified of being seen in general. There's no specificity of fear there. There's no like, I'm terrified that people will find out that I'm a pervert. I'm terrified that people will find out that I'm violent. I'm terrified that people will find out that I'm messy. None of those things are the case for Bocchi. So it's all an unsubstantiated fear. It's like, I'm terrified that people will find out that I'm terrified. That's really all that it is. And sort of the flow of the episode is everybody going, dude, we know. we get it. We see it. It's obvious. You don't have to hide it. It's just making it worse. This is a great reveal. Freaking posters of parties, balloons everywhere, candies out, disco ball. Welcome to Shea Goto. Sorry, I will put this all away. It's awful. And then she's self-judging, right? The others don't care, really. They're a little weirded out by the circumstance, like, well, this is weird. But they don't really care. Bocchi cares. Too much about things that matter too little. Oh, we could play around a little. Oh, beautiful. And then the way that she lands is also... It's reminiscent of the blue scene from earlier. Zombified. Wow. She really went all out. Yeah. It's not much like a room. I assumed it would be more rockish. Just a pile of salt. Seals everywhere. Is this what we call rock? Yeah, this is pretty rock. Fucking excellent. And then the horror show. All the little terrifying elements. Building up. Oh, it's such a good gag. And then, huh? What is that? That's a cute little sister and a cute little dog. Hello, I am the little sister. I am a normal human being. Bocchi returns to find normal human things occurring, and Bocchi goes, well, I'm not a normal human. I don't belong here. This is the line that stands out to me the most in the episode. They're getting along so well, there's no room left for me. It's the opposite. The better people are getting along, the more room they will make for you because they're happy. Something like that is the way to flip the conceptualization so that you can engage actively, right? If people are getting along really well, I should engage. Partly because if I fuck it up, I'll only bring yay down to like baseline. And if people are at baseline, maybe I'll bring it way down. Okay, whatever. Probably you won't bring down the circumstance. Probably in most circumstances, the more the merrier. People are usually happy to have others to interact with. Generally. I mean, some people are resentful and hateful and want to be left alone. That's got its own set of problems. If that's you, then that needs to be fixed. If that's someone around you, then you should probably just move away from them, but it's not usually a reflection on you. If somebody's properly oriented, usually they're going to be like, yeah, come on. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go. Unless you're acting fucking weird, in which case their defenses will go up. They're getting along so well, there's no room for me. It feels right. It's like, oh, I don't want to spoil their fun. I don't want to spoil anything. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. And so we're right back to, I don't know how to say that I want to play when everybody's going and playing. And you just say that you want to play. And you overcome that monster, and you then overcome it again and again and again and again and again. And you keep putting dink, 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 dink little pieces of evidence on the scale that says, maybe I'm not hated by everyone, and maybe I'm not hateful. It's a fun piece of animation, too. Ends up working quite well. A 5-year-old and a dog have better social skills than me. Yeah. They have one skill better than yours, and that is, hi, let's do a thing. And that's the whole of social skills. I love how well Futari understands her big sister. Oh, big sis is frozen again. She's doing this again. You have to leave. You're messing everything up. Projecting, reflecting, and then tempting. You can have an ice pop from the freezer. I love Futari's line too. She's like, well, it is what it is. Shoganai. No, shoganai. Such a bond. And again, we get a little element of Nijika being like, is that what you think is going on here? That wasn't a sisterly bond. That was weird. Got our eyes open, man. Now, t-shirts. Let's design them. Again, how do you social skills? How do you social skills? Let's do a thing. That's it. It's the whole thing. The conversation between the parents and the daughter is great. Terrible, terrible shirt. The heinous ritual. School trauma sources for introverts. Sports festival. Also, natural in every anime. It's a part of Seishun. It's a part of your high school life. Everybody work together. Everybody as one. Very useful. Very important to have bonding between groups of kids. Causes a problem when you're on the outs of it, though. When you don't know how to interact. It's just more people interacting without you understanding how to deal with them. It's just worse and worse. And it's forced. And forced behavior never feels good. Never feels good. It's like a forced icebreaker. Let's all sit in a circle and say one thing about ourselves. Instantly gets me cold sweating. Just ugh. But what else are you going to do? It does work for the majority of people. The little 3D photo animation, real photo animation. I don't know what these are. They don't look like they're clay exactly. Maybe cloth or paper or something. Like these are twist ties on as the bands, the headbands for them. Are they cork? I'm unsure what they are. The whole thing though is it's like a memory space of horrifying flashing lights and stuff. It's perfect for Bocchi. And it's really fun that they did this. One for all for one for all for... Oh, she's melting. This, I really like the style of. Super fun. Introverts are constantly underfoot, but if they sit quietly in a corner, they're persecuted for not being team players. What if what's best for you is that you cooperate with everybody? Could it be me that's wrong? No, it's everybody else who's wrong. So he monsterized them and demonized them with the spiky pauldrons and everything. But emotionally, that's correct. It feels like being smacked because you're incapable of handling the thing. It feels like being punished doubly. And then persecuted for shying away from the punishment. Brutal. The continued doubt of the parents, where they don't even believe their daughter when she says that, yes, the other daughter has friends and they're really physically here. Wonderful. Wow, we never imagined it. So glad we went shopping. We really thought that maybe the picture had just been edited. And we get 2 times from the father. Music really does change lives. Music really does have good things. She doesn't cause too much trouble with her retreats into her own little world, does she? Oh, no music, no life. I didn't see that. That's a hell of a poster to have up. I wonder what it is exactly that these 2 parents should do. Because I don't think what they're doing is necessarily what they should do. Though their tendencies and their statements reveal that they are aware that there's a struggle going on in their daughter's life and are unable to, they don't know how to fix it or figure it out or help. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but there should be some kind of an answer to that. There's an answer beyond just, that's the way it is. It's causing continued and obvious harm to the child. At least internal suffering, right? That's no trouble at all. Yeah, it's fun. We like her the way she is. And her response is the one that I had missed before. The fact that I'm still upset about school festivals makes me realize I'm a downer even more, which makes everything else even worse. And you get knocked out of it by the generosity of parents and the deliciousness of food. Now that's true. If you can get somebody to sit down and have a meal with you, you create a real connection there. And, well, you know how to eat. You know how to do that at least. You're not going to fuck that up too badly. You should make sure that your manners are on point. Chew with your mouth closed. Try not to burp audibly too loudly unless you're in a cultural like a cultural situation where that's a good thing. But you know how to eat, how to break bread. Hearing mom's and dad's ideas about me is so brutal. It's rough. And it is rough all the way through. Because we get this sort of unmasked realization that her parents have no faith in her. Fully expect that she's lying about having friends. But she has to admit that that does sound like something that she would do. And so it's less a revelation like, oh, my parents hate me. Like, oh, the people who are closest to me in the world don't expect that I would ever break out of my shell. Maybe I'm not trying very hard to break out of my shell. Maybe I got some real limitations. Maybe they're obvious to everybody except me. Practicing decorating. Pachow! 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 It's a cool cut. Pachow! Pachow! Very cool. Twister. Shoppingu. She goes out. Everything goes well when she's gone. And now it feels harder to go back in. Distance, self-generated distance. Over and over. Heartwarming Seishun movie? Bad idea. Too much Seishun. The number one source of movie trauma for introverts. This cut is cool, and yeah, as expected, because they're gonna loop it like this, they did it all on one, so it's super smooth looking, and it ends up being buttery smooth, if weird and like zoomed out and far away. I don't want to wear those clothes. We push, and she's a human. Weird. And she doesn't like it. This joke I don't get. She turns into ash. I don't get it. It's just the same joke as before? Is it similar to melting, or is there something specific about the turning into ash thing? Is it just too many things piled on at once? I guess so. And then we just extrapolate that out, and we take the joke and we go further and further with it until it until it's overwhelming, and then we can cut away. This is pretty good, though. This could really work. Typhoon, Bozu, and we get Bocchi stuck on something. Wants to express it, can't get it out, forces it out. Nervous, everybody's leaving. Hey, shouldn't we make the Bozus? And Nijika goes, yeah, totally. You okay, Bocchi-chan? Grimace as she walks by, can't hold it together. Nijika's way more conscious of what's going on than she shares. The mastermind at work. Okay. Having friends over to your house can be a nerve-wracking experience. I think for most people it's just joyous. It's just like, yay, friends are coming. I know for me, I feel a little bit more like Bocchi. It's like that's immediately a set of complicated problems that needs to be solved. You're representing yourself, your space, your family dynamics, your home, everything about you. And for somebody like Bocchi who does not have a good relationship with her own representations of self, that's a tough problem. It's also a tough problem to try to represent that and demonstrate it in a piece of media effectively. I think that they solve that tough problem really well, and that the episode conveys a lot of the potential pitfalls of this kind of an interaction and this kind of an outlook on it or a perspective on it. I came in expecting to like these 23 minutes, and I come out enjoying those 23 minutes and enjoying the talks that we've had about them. It's a fun episode of Bocchi. What's next? Concert? Concert gets delayed? Concert in the rain? I don't know. But I look forward to it, because Bocchi the Rock has been a lot of fun, and I expect that it will continue to be a lot of fun. Thanks for sticking with my weird ramblings today. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week for more Bocchi. Peace.